Hey there! Welcome back to this part of the channel where we visit museums and we find different art around the world, really. I'm Barrett from Wire in the City, and today we went to Moderna Museet, the Modern Museum, in Stockholm. So first we ended up taking the train to Stockholm, which is always a very lovely ride because you get to get your little coffee and you get to sit there and hang out with friends, and it's quite comfortable. And then it was only about an hour ride to actually get to Stockholm, so you even have time to perhaps do some work like I did and brush up on the information about the exhibit that we were going to see. Once we arrived to Stockholm, we took a little tour through Gamla stan because I always really enjoy that. It's always really beautiful walking through the alleyways on the old cobblestone streets. It was such a beautiful day. The sun was shining and it just hits all of the water all around you. Stockholm's basically just a city made up of tons of different islands connected by bridges. So you're always walking over at least like 2 or 3 bridges to get wherever you want to go, especially in central Stockholm. Once we had finally made it to the museum, to Moderna, of course we had to refresh ourselves with some fika before we went to go see the exhibit, which was quite lovely. Latte, always. And fika was completed, and that's where we got to actually go and see the exhibitions. Now, many of the rooms in the museum are quite beautifully lit because there's just a huge window in the ceiling that's just raining down sunlight onto all of the pieces. The first room we went to, it was the room with the Impressionism collection. We happened upon a quite stunning Picasso that really enthralled me. I really enjoyed it. Moving into other rooms, there were a couple of hanging sculptures that caught my eye. Of course, I know, me and hanging sculptures, what? But the first one I found, it was actually just a sculpture made out of multiple hangers that were connected in a way so that the entire sculpture would move, hanging from the ceiling. All just made up of hangers. It's like the most common thing that you could have in your household, I feel like, but the artist had turned it into this beautiful piece. Also, I always find it really interesting to see other hanging pieces by other sculptors and see how they've interpreted it. As we continued walking through, we finally happened upon the main exhibit, which was that of Mochi Cherry. And it was just a plethora of huge, really bright tapestry work and paintings of just the most in-your-face colors and made-up organisms. I don't really know else how to describe it, honestly. So walking around that exhibit really just fills you with joy, no matter what. You're dead inside if you don't feel a little excitement walking around this part. And then we found the wire. So I think I just found my absolute favorite part about this museum. I've been to this museum several times, but I've never seen this exhibition behind me. And it's just a whole thing of wire, a whole hodgepodge of wire in models. And I found what I want my workshop / house to look like with all of these models when I'm an older person. So we didn't actually end up seeing all of the museum, but I felt like we hit upon the new exhibits as well as our favorite parts of their current collection that they have, which is always my tips I would give to someone going to a museum. You don't have to see everything, you just go see the parts of it that you want to see. But I always really enjoy visiting this museum because they do describe themselves of having contemporary as well as modern art. We'll definitely continue to go back there in the future, but today was a really great day to spend in Stockholm visiting Moderna and walking around in general. So thanks for coming with us to this museum, and I hope to see you for the next one.